So good morning, or whatever time you have. I will do 1 hour long online, so to speak, symposium on my beliefs in how to play the instruments, which I hold in my hand. My name is Hakan Bjorkman. I work in the Swedish Radio Symphony since 10 years. Before that I was 15 years at the Royal Opera in Stockholm, and previous to that I was in a wind band for 3 years. Yeah, I got sort of through all the tunnels in different music styles when it comes to classical trombone playing, and I teach at the Royal Academy in Stockholm, or Royal College of Music, that's the correct name. This year I have a quite big class. We are 10, and after Christmas we will be about 12, maybe up to 13 people, depending on one specific. Anyway, no details needed for you. How do we warm up? Do you know how to? This is my first note in the day, so this is going to be an honest warm-up session. Do you know how the instruments sound like before you even touch the lip? Do you know how the B flat sounds? I've got no music on in the background, nothing that interferes. You pick up the horn, and in my beliefs it's ba, that should be B flat. Ba, ba, yeah, close enough. And often people say, let's warm up on a note that's in the middle, or not so high, not too low. So middle should be an F. F is a perfect choice. B flat is a perfect choice. Either B flat goes, but what if we stress to go in the middle of the slide as well? So instead of 1, we go to the 7th position, and there we could find maybe D. And we go from a D, just making a note with no tongue. We just sigh. So the proper warm-up, meaning that you are physically active and don't go straight from the bed to the instrument. Of course, I assume that you have been walking a couple of steps, or maybe went for a run or a walk, or I mean, you do what you do. I'm not going to interfere with your habits, but let's concentrate on the middle D, shall we? And with no tongue. Just imagine the sound come through the lips. A couple of times. Now add some articulation. You can either do the D tongue, David, or T tongue, or a combination with the R and D, which is in the English language how you say the word hard d, quite soft D. And then you compare that to a T. And then you go on only the R sound. With no fluttering, but where you put the tongue in the gum before it speaks. So just place it. Why do I do this? I just want to explore the different way of pronouncing the notes, and it has no meaning when it comes to this is a warm-up that is good for you. Just where is the tongue placed in the mouth, and I'm not taking any responsibility for how it sounds. To be honest, I didn't like the sound of either start. Maybe the air attack, so to speak, the air start is the one when you warm up. And then slightly go upwards. slidey glissando, and then you can also add some tongue. And they get the, so to speak, the bones, the structure of the sound a little bit more clear when you add the articulation. Something is ringing in my instrument. I don't know what it is. Take this pen holder away. So that's the first two notes for me today. And then I, so to speak, swirl back and forth like a snake in the grass. This is for me a good way to start, just being very close. You haven't yet played any legato, just sliding away in the middle, from the middle, not from the middle and down. Now, my warm-up. I have to sneak because I made this up during this Corona thing that has been evident for everyone in 2020. So my warm-up is based on first having a note that's clear and quite long with just air, and the next note following is with a slight attack, and the next note following that one is like a triplet, ba ti ya ta ta ti ya ta ta, like this. Don't ask me why I came up with this idea. Many things happen in your head when you have your instrument. So this is a good little thing. The international trombone tempo that we all can all agree it's like a 72, maybe 66. It's not too quick, not too sloppy either. And the thing is to be active with the air, P T to the articulation on the first note in the triplet, ha ti ya ta ta, and then we know that air is behind. Instead of having the little gap. It's a constant direction of the air. Now, we do the opposite. We take away the direction and we play something called this one. So there we leave a little gap after the first note that you can start with either tongue or air. Or, doesn't matter. The importance is to stay focused with air and remember how it feels when the note is getting started. Takes a bit of time. Now I go to something, and of course you repeat this, and you can move up to or go down. and so on and so forth. You decide. Next thing is I call the it's like a wave. You have something active and something deactive. You know, when the water comes in on the beach and then goes back again. So when it goes back, it's the same amount of water actually that just has been traveling up to on the sand or the hills or whatever where you are placed. But you think of this consistent active and deactive. So one direction and the other direction. That means you can play one note with a deactive air and you start a note with an active air. So that means, for instance, you can get an octave leap with an deactive airflow, because you have so much energy in the first note, which is active. So that means with a little help from the arch of the tongue, you can do the whistling method as well. You said, you pretend that you're whistling the notes. So the result would be something like this. Extremely soft, especially in this room. I don't know how it turns out in your speakers, but it's like nothing. There's nothing left because you don't have an activity behind the air, but the note is still coming, and that's a comforting feeling. And then you can actually address this to any leap that you would like to achieve, for instance, and go deactive on the top, because you have so much energy on the first D. Too soon in the morning for me, not having played, but still you get the idea. And you can reverse this as well, going from the top note to the bottom. And get the extremes. Then you can be less extreme. And you can also decide to stay with the same, sort of almost the same speed of the air when you go the octave. Then the risk is that you have too much air, so you will actually overhit the notes, or underhit the note in this case. This is quite important when I speak to my students and to myself. It's you go up on a high note and you come from beneath. So you will hit the note from under, so to speak. And vice versa, if you go on a lower note, you come from above. It's like walking the stairs. If you go up, you come from beneath. If you go down, you come from above. Therefore, you will hit the next slide of step from above. Of course, and then you climb up. It's like picking apples from under instead of flying like a bird and picking the apples from above. If you pick the apples from above, then you get the split notes. So it's easier to just go from under. Then the surface of the note is wide. I look at it if it was like a triangle, the base of a triangle. That you have a long base, and then the sides of the triangle, it's a symbol of the overtones. And you don't want to miss out the first 4, 5, 6, 7 layers of the overtones, because you're extremely focused on getting the note in the middle. So if you have like a little ring in the middle of the triangle, then you will miss a couple of layers, and the sound will sound like this. you just go the way, so you reach the B flat in this case. Then it's a slimmer action of the lips, and a slimmer action of the air, a slimmer action of anything as involved in getting a note. Demonstration going down is like you picking something from the floor, from the ground. You lean down, you take it from above, and there it is. You don't have to dig a big hole and take it from under, because if you take it from under, you get this kind of, you heard it before? A little bit of like a, what do you say, hole in the ground for no reason. So if you come from above, you just smash the surface from above. Then you would think, what about this triangle thing? Then you come from above and you will hit the top of the triangle like this. Boop! Then I say, yes, that's correct, but we are human beings, we know exactly what we are dealing with. So we can think that if this is the vision of a sound, we have a triangle because we hit the note from above, from beneath, boom, woof, woof, and then we go on the contrary, we go on the lower note, and we think of the triangle like this. So this is still the base of a triangle, and then you can if you switch it up, you have a triangle again. That you, it's imagination of focus and where to be efficient. So knowing that you have to do the least motion between two notes, that's the most efficient way to play. And not getting too narrow. If you get it too narrow from, if you want to have a G and then a D, and you don't really reach up for the D, because you think too much of hitting it from under. But you do have to reach the note. That's important. You have to reach it first. Compare it to having a split note like this. Then you reach too widely and you're too anticipating. Okay. I have to sneak a little bit. Where am I? Still in the warm-up mood, but this is like a mishmash of everything. Okay, so we did this active and deactive. I call this air that you pay for and air that you get for free. And getting the air for free is when you, for instance, pretend that you play in the same octaves. So pretend that the high octave that you go to is just staying the same. Embarrassing to make a presentation and then miss the note, but I'm not a human being. But anyway, so this is the thing. The trick is to do as little as you can in order to get the notes. The more things you involve, the more complicated, and you make it harder for yourself than it needs to be to make a note come. So take stress away from eyebrows, stress away from cheek and chin, and stress away from extremely, very important, the posture of the body, shoulders. Stress away from how you hold the instrument. Is it tight? Is the grip tight? Is the grip loose? Can you involve less movement of just one joint? Can you involve, maybe make it easier with just going with the wrist as well sometimes? So make this more jerky. When I was 20 or something, I thought that was the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. When I was 16, I took a lesson from Frank Christofouli in Chicago Symphony. Yeah, actually a couple of lessons, but he's told me the slower you can move the slide from one position to another, the better it is. The only thing that matters is that you have to be there in time, because this is quite important. No one cares what you are doing and dealing with between the notes. If you're going for F to G in the middle register for a trombone player, maybe this is one of the hardest legato playing you can make. F, G, F, G, F, G, and you need to go 1, 4, 1, 4, because I tell you to do it. If you go very stiff, that interferes a little bit with the ease of the whole thing, and it looks a bit jerky. So try to involve the wrist a little bit and try to be later than you think that you can. So this breaking action that you need to anticipate with the whole thing of having one joint involved is taking off the balance a little bit when you use the second joint, which is the wrist, as a little like a suspension. So the one tip from me to you is to practice this in an extreme. I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm speaking too much uninteresting things. One one good thing is to make it the hardest way possible is to make 1 to 7 and back to 1 again. So for instance, that means B flat, B natural, and B flat. And try to do it first as quick as you can. There's a bit of a tension, it bounces a little bit when you go to 1 and 7 and 1. So now you relax a little bit and do it more slowly, but still place the notes as close as they can actually. But we are not interested, or a viewer or listener is not interested to see a super quick tensed arm to do this heavy duty work. It's a quite long way. It's like 74.5 centimeters or something. Yes, if you do like this and it sounds, that means that the air is too active. So deactivate the air when you're on your little trip, the private journey from 1 to 7. And so on. And then you compare it to one plug, 1, 2.5 plug, if you have one. If you don't have an instrument like this, just stay with the 1 and 7 and 1. This is the, so to speak, the ultimate goal to have it as joint together as it is with the plug. Why don't you just use the plug then? Of course it would, but it's a good practice for the arm. And sometimes you end up with a trombone with no plug, so you have to deal with it sometimes. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I call it, if you make a warm-up thing and you do arpeggios, this normal stuff, you just place one note above another, you go in the line of the instrument. That's cool, that's good, everyone does it, and I do it as well. If you, on the contrary, skip one, you skip one partial, so to speak. So start with, you have to add the D. I'm talking about the wrong things. This is the was mistaken. Sorry for this. This is what I mean. D to F instead of including the B flat. And so on and so forth. You can stop whenever you want, but the thing is to skip one what do you say? One partial when you go up. You skip the F there. See, I will play it once again and then you can remember it. Reverse it, of course. Skip that and save some time. All right. Cover that. Posture. Posture is everything. Is there one way to stand or sit which is more efficient than another way? I think it's quite personal. But on my experience is if you are relaxed in the whole body, meaning from the stomach and up, or actually from the knees and the hips, it will create a greater sound. I don't know if this will turn out on an iPad with an inbuilt microphone, but if you stand as a normal Western people, I mean, we sit all the time, so when we do stand up, we are quite proud and we stand with a straight back and straight knees and instrument up, and we want to be there. Instead, if you loosen a little bit and take away, I don't know if you can see me, I have got dark trousers as well, but instead of having like attention, you relax a little bit in your knees, just a tiny bit. If I stand over here, see if I can move this a little bit. Sorry. Yeah. If you have over here, maybe. Now you can see against the whites background. Stiff, relaxed. Stiff, relaxed. Stiff, relaxed. It's not a big difference. You don't have to stand like this, of course, because it looks just super silly. But this is the wind. The wind. If you lock the knees, you will lock the hip, and then if you lock the hip, you will not be able to move around. So to speak, you don't have to move around so much when you play it, but the body needs to be open and free. And this is your resonating box. So instead of having a tensed and straight posture like this, you can have a relaxed and still a proud posture. You don't have to change so much, but the thing is going from this to this and sink down a little bit so the tension is going away. Take up the instrument. Don't do this. Stay down instead of this. So I will see if I can demonstrate the sound difference between being tensed and playing. I'm trying to get a good sound now. Again. Now I will relax. Loosen up a little bit. Back to the more upright position with the knees straight. Play the same. Beginning of tuba mirror, almost. Then take the lock away from the knees, relax that a little bit, be a little more loose in the hips, body should relax, and the whole resonation should actually benefit from this. I don't know how it is for you guys. For me, it sounds like the instrument is getting a bit lower in pitch and harmony, and I get a sort of it sounds like I have a bigger mouthpiece and a bigger instrument all of a sudden. So I'll do it again just for a quick demonstration. 1. Two. Yeah. For me, that has been the truth for many years. If you sit down, take a chair, and a chair, and if you sit, I need to go in profile. Normal position is like this, and then you can't see my feet, but often you have the feet, so to speak, under your knees, slightly under this chair as well. So it will be something like this in sound. So now the thing is to remember, is that only one thing. Your heels should be in front of your knees. If you have a straight line of from your knees to the ground, and you take the feet in front of them instead, then you will feel that you will actually, all of a sudden, you can move a little bit on the chair and have a hip area that's relaxed. So the same goes with this. I will demonstrate in this direction. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you can't tell any difference, but see if I can hear it. Normal position, so to speak. The feet under the chair. The feet in front of the knees. So that's the thing to remember. Relaxed knees, loosen up hip part of your body, and embrace the heavy feeling and relaxed feeling. But still, stand up straight. Don't look silly. And don't do so big difference with your instrument. Just keep it there. The thing to remember is, you know, when you do the CPR, if you are helping someone with that has been fainting or something, you have to, you know, the throat should be quite open like this, instead of laying it down on this and like this and covering the throat. It's the same with when we stand up. If it's too way back, you get a bit of tension. It's easier to be slightly downwards, but that means the instrument will go down, and that's quite not so nice to see. But it's good for the breathing. So what we can do now is to relax, and then so we meet the posture with the angle of the instrument. So we need to adjust a little bit. We have to be relaxed in the throat in order to get a nice exhalation and inhalation of the air, and giving a good proper pipe for the sound to developing the body, which is actually not. This is not fake news. This is actually happening. The body itself, it's a resonating box. So you can explore it back and forth with this. Often I forget about this all the time. I stand as I was trying to explain, but I forget about this. But it makes sense. Now, let's talk about legato. Legatos can be formed in different ways. my belief is the air support should be constant, but it should be having the difference between activation and deactivation. And the deactivation of the constant airflow is easy to misunderstand and misinterpret. Because if I say deactivation, it doesn't mean that you should keep the air behind. It should still be moving, but very slowly and very thin when you do the slide change. But not all the time, in not all the registers, but in the range that we can reveal some bluntness and some, you know, when we have this slide slash natural slur slash going against the partials slash glissando risks slash going partial like this. There's a risk that if you push there, we get the free notes that we are not invited to the party. Because we are pushing there even in between. Going through the partials, beginning of Morceau Symphoniques. That's a classical example. If we do this, we are a little bit too afraid of the high notes. So what we need to do is say it's like playing the chimes. Ding, ding. We hit the chime with a button or a club or a hammer, whatever you say, and then it rings on its own. It's like us. It rings on its own with the air we just put in. Then you can relax. We don't have to enforce. I think producing of a sound in an instrument, on the trombone, all brass instruments actually, is like having 3 strings in a piano. If I open this piano, which I'm not because it's so many things on it, there are 3 strings from, I think, from, not this, some are from this octave. You can see 3 strings in every note. 1 string, upper lip. The second string, lower lip. 3rd string, air. That's the 3 elements we need to vibrate. These are all vocal cords. Instead of having it inside, invisible, we can all see them. So we need 2 pair of lips, 1 pair of lips, 1 pair is 2 lips, and we need air. Otherwise, the perfect apertura doesn't speak if you don't push some air through it. So that's the first rule. And then when you have, so to speak, compare it to a piano, ding of the chimes, or the boom on the timpani, or the guitar string, ding, which is only 1 string, but still we have the example of making it like a unit of 3. Then you don't have to enforce it and come on, guitar, sound more. Where's the volume button? The piano, come on, I want more. Then we can, with the air, make a crescendo and increase the volume. Sometimes we don't want it. We just want the lines of the music to take care of that itself. So the next note is just as important as if you would play it on the piano. Bum, bum. You make a little more emphasis on the second one. Or you can do less emphasis. Or but what happened in between those notes is just decrease of air. You travel as quick as you can, as relaxed as you can. You don't have to be in time on the G flat before someone says so, and that's you. And that also gives me a tip. Play as slowly as you can in the given tempo all the time. I'm just jumping back and forth now because it's like a lesson with no, I can't see you. If you play bum, pa, 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 bum, pa, 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 bum, bourgeois, and so on. 60 notes, pa pa pam, pa 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 pam, pa 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 pam, pa 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 pam. Play them as slowly as you can in the given tempo, so you don't think that the direction is equal stressing. Direction is one thing, that's a long horizontal line you need. Now we speak about music, but this, well, dealing with the trombone is often music, or actually it's music all the time, even in the first warm-up note. What we need is direction, yes, horizontal direction, yes, but be cool and be on time when you need to be in time, not before, so don't stress it. Going back to the legato. Okay, that was the example B flat to G flat. Now there is an example doing, let's play a if you play that, it's called the Bluebells of Scotland. There are certain spots when you need the air to be more active, and several spots where the air needs to be not too active at all. Then in an obvious reason is just going back what I said like 20 minutes ago with the active air and the deactive. And so on. So in this specific little example should be a little bit like the tongue of a little wizard. It needs to be there in time, but then it sneaks away, and we are not so interested in what happened, because you know what you would like to happen. You want to have the notes. If you anticipate too much, I didn't make that up. I was pushing the air, and the result is not my cup of tea if you push it too much. So the air is hard to decide, where am I? Who are the notes that I'm supposed to be on with myself? This is the air speaking. Mr. Air, welcome to the trombone world, but not too often and not too much. So if you exaggerate this one, where that's it's like a train. Going to another song that you know of, it's called the Ferdinand David Trombone Concerto. You know, they have the Dolce plays in the beginning. Sounds familiar? Yes. I find it quite often people playing because they are so careful about getting the notes perfect every time. All the notes should be where they should be. And it means that they have activity behind every single note, which is a little bit over the top and a little bit too much of activity. So what you can do is to pick and choose where are the highlights. because I just started it and then I was thinking too much of deactive, but that's not true either. So a combination between activity and awareness of deactivity. And if you do the extremes, this is the result. And be careful about there is a risk of having a like a click, click, click. You hear the partials. It's like the beginning of second movement Grandon. If you hear this section, I mean, I don't believe that you play this boring, but the actual movement between the two notes, those are the one I'm highlighting right now, and it's the only thing of this topic after 46 minutes or something. So we have to be aware of which means that between every single note I was doing like the American Santa Claus is saying ho ho ho, the Aries do the same thing, ho 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 ho, because this is a long phrase, long line, so every note is living a longer time in the room, so they need a little bit more attention and a little bit more awareness that they exist. So if you just think of, like in the David example, just one direction note, then you will end up if the A is the goal. Then it gets a little bit too shy and there is no direction, and like by 1 second into that playing you lose the interests from the listeners, because they are not so they start pick up their phones and look at the browser or whatever they look at, or think of something else, because you have to grab the attention of having a direction all the time. That's one thing. Another thing, and then we talked about one of my, I think we discussed that a couple of minutes ago, is this. If you have a F, G, F, which is the hard, or F, E, F sharp, if you hear way, go up from above and come from beneath and above, try to hide those. And pretend as if you were just playing with a plug. And then add to that, taking away the air so we don't hear the plug being activated. That goes specifically with the trombones with the normal plug, which you have this clicking sound more than these models that open. I mean, so many open models nowadays, so I'm not talking in favor of any instrument, but still, that's one example. And high register. Is there a secret how to play high register? Yes, there is. I got 10 minutes. I will spend those minutes with the most important thing. If you have watched my my YouTube thing, which I think is just a silly little thing. I often sit on this very chair and play stupid things because I like to have a little goal, like a carrot on the stick that I want to achieve. I want to play something through without stopping, sometimes you stop even if there's a camera. But it's just a good little thing to have, being your own student for a while and playing for the teacher, and the teacher in this case is the camera, and see if you can stay with the focus. Anyway, secret of high range. and the perfect set of the amateur. Part 1. How many of you know that there is one note on the trombone deep down that's actually not a B flat on the first position? B natural, deep down on the piano. That's a B natural. Maybe it doesn't come out from this device, I don't know, but that's the B natural, and it should be 2 octaves below that. First position. Don't even try to get a B flat, super low, super duper, mega pedal B flat, because it doesn't exist on the first position. You do have the B natural. It's good enough. And then you take every 2 notes away in the harmonic series. So let's go to a harmonic series. Take the trombone. Here's a trombone. Oh, welcome to the world, trombone. And you say the B flat trombone is welcome to play. Okay. Octave. 5th. Octave again. The 3rd. So we take away every 2nd note, which is strange. But anyway, to get the octave. No, you don't get the octave. You get the 5th. And then you don't get the octave again. And you get the 3rd. Does this imply on the super low B? Yes, it does. This is the one. Then you skip the B natural. You go directly to the F sharp. This is the first position, F sharp, and you can try to mock yourself. Play the F sharp on the 5th. No plug involved. So what you do now, I'm going to get a little bit closer, Corona safe. You get the corners down a little bit, and you get the lower lip a bit into the mouthpiece and a bit falling down slightly. If I say this and this, it's way too much, but the sensation is that you widen your apertura. Apertura is the opening between the lips, over and under lip. This will give you the higher range octave, the higher range amateur, sorry. And you can go in octaves, that's what I mean. And you play, so to speak, in the same octave as you feel comfortable, but then you add some thinking of high notes, and you don't help out so much with amateur. You just play the whistling method and getting the support from the body from the early start, that is from the hip area and up, and together with the S whistling sound. It's not whistling in the bell, but in the setup with this new amateur, old new amateur. It's the same amateur that you have, but it's just slightly more aware now. Okay, let's go back to the low B, and then there's no B again, but there's a D sharp. It sounds quite hollow and spooky, but still you can have it. You can find it on the first position. If you don't find it, no griefs. The important note on this little history lesson is the F sharp to concentrate on. I will continue, and then you will get a septime. This A flat, but in the B family, that should be an A then. And then the A. Sorry. Oh, the higher you go, the more difficult it comes, and then you stop. This is End of the history lesson in the B family, so to speak, the fake notes thing. Concentrate on the F sharp. You make yourself. I'll play you a lesson for tomorrow. You do this not more than 2-3 minutes. So you do this. You stay with the A sharp is. If you call it F sharp, C sharp, A sharp. And in order to get as clear sound as possible, you need to do this adjustment of the lips to get a bit more wider and more open. Then you continue down the line. F. The more you can open up the sound on the second position on natural F with a no plug, just the lip, the better it is. If you get like a fuzzy sound, an airy sound, like this in the beginning, absolutely fine. The thing is that you know that it is actually on that position. That's the most important. Over time, you will develop a greater power on that one when it comes to sound. And continue down the lane. E. Stay with the G sharp is E flat. Stay. D. Stay. D flat. Stay. So no adjustment. C. Low 7, but not silly low. Okay, that was the 7th position. Now we will need number 8. And there is an 8th position. If you do, okay, equivalent to C to the 7, that's the 2.5 and a plug. And then you take the next position, which is 8 in the F trombone, and that should be like a very, very high 4th position. And there is the B natural. So we'll go from B natural, F sharp, D sharp with the plug now. Oh, sorry. And then you dip down. This means, if you want, you can go back to this 2.5, where you just took the B natural if you are a normal trombone user, and then you can find the low C on that position. I need some more. Maybe this really will be longer than 1 hour. Okay. Now we'll plan to take a low C. Then you can play the Baba Yaga. Like this. But it's the wrong key. It's the wrong octave. It's the wrong instrument, but still. Could be useful sometimes. It's even sometimes you end up with just taking one note like a C and not enough space between the stands and the chairs, so you can. Okay, I did it. No one really paid notice of that note, but it's still there. Now over to the beneficial part of this. Okay, not only do you get a super open low register, if you do this training and play it with a fake note like this, I call it fake note, and then you stay in the same position, you pull the trigger in, then you can have a super open slap note bonanza. really play it. And so to speak, the way to hit the note feels extremely easy all of a sudden because you open up your apertura. And also the intonation is not adjust. You don't have to adjust so much with super low, extreme low, and plus and minus. You just remember normal 4, normal 5, normal 6, normal 7, and then the fake B flat, which is a B natural, which is on the, so to speak, high 4, where the E flat should be. Talking about the E flats. If you compare it to the middle B with no plug, and then it with a plug, then you know, oh, it's quite low. Remember what I said in the beginning, you go from above when you take a deeper note to lower note, so you don't pass the limit where the note is situated. So that means you can go on quite low positions, but you hit the note from above. So the thing is that will happen that you will take it on the sweet spot and just whoa, it will open up, and no worries about adjustments, and no worries about the tuning machine or the tune with the colleagues or the tubas or the double basses. It will be fine. So that's easy. Now we passed the time by 2 minutes and 20 seconds already, but I would like to just give you the last tip of advice. Using the same amateur, but go super high instead. What you need is a relaxed attitude to it. Is this even possible to play high notes on a low setup amateur? I'm skeptical, very skeptical. But then you try and you will see that it actually works, but it feels strange in the beginning. It feels like playing a high note on a low B flat amateur, for instance. It's too big. It's too big. Yes, but if you do something else instead of closing, if you close your lips, that will not help you at all. It will get squeezy and too sharp, but stay as open as you dare. Maybe not super open like this. I mean, it works. It really works, but it's maybe the first choice. So slightly more narrow, but super more open than you would ever dream of. That's closed. It's quite spiky and narrow sound. You can go up to high F, I'm not kidding, with this posture of playing from the low B flat, or even better. If you just dare to try, stay, stay, stay. Adjust with the arrow of the tongue, the arch of the tongue. I'm saying so many wrong words now, but anyway. I'll correct myself. Stay with the lip posture, the arch of the tongue, which is creating the whistling. If you whistle, you can't see the difference, but the tongue is going like this in the mouth. You're doing the same. And it should be less efforting than you actually would consider is possible. So it's actually working. Stay. That was not the most beautiful sound, but the thing is, I just wanted to get through this channel and say, try this, not too many minutes a day, 3 to 5 minutes to make the fake notes happening in the beginning. Then you just explore with the size, and then you can play normal trombone. If you think it's too wide, close it, but don't close it as much as you would as if you would go normal. Like this. But okay, stay. And you will find out that more and more the sound will get bigger, and the surface of the note will get easier to hit, because it will be like an open goal. You know, it's no goalkeeper. You just kick the ball into the net, and there's no worries. So guys, I hope you will find anything of this interesting, and if you would like to try it, be my guest. And if you forget all about this in 16 seconds when you push the end button, that's up to you. I'm just giving you my tips and advice. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great online symposium wherever you do, and practice with not with a smile. Actually, this is the last thing. It's not so important to just think of the corners getting down and down. Those are the winners in the game. But it's equally important to involve all the muscles in the amateur. So it stretches up, stretches to the side, but it definitely stretches downwards, as we was talking about this, getting the low note to ring. But if you're too sloppy here, it will just be too open, and then you will find this extremely unhelpful. Like this. So it needs to stretch up and stretch to the sides. So the goal is to actually being able to play something articulated on the F sharp fake model thing on the first. Dum bum bum bum. See if it works. Okay, with those words, I thank you for watching, and thank you for having the interest in the instrument. Bye.